So in this section, we're talking about parabolas, which we have done in other classes. But here's our standard form, and this is called vertex form because we can really easily see the vertex straight from the form. So the vertex is at HK. And then A, that tells us if the graph gets stretched at all. Sometimes it gets narrow, sometimes it gets stretched out. So it's asking us to rewrite this equation in vertex form. And it's actually really close. Vertex form needs y by itself. Y equals. So all I have to do is add this 10 to the other side. So y equals 5x minus 5 plus 10. So our vertex would be at 5, 10. Since it's negative 5 in the parentheses, the actual vertex is at 5. And then 5, this would make our graph stretch up. It'd be more narrow. So our equation, not minus 10, plus 10, this first one. So when we have a parabola, we haven't learned yet, but there's a directrix and a focus. So let's kind of look at what that is. Here's a regular parabola in the red. This is what we're used to seeing. But now we're going to look at this point called the focus. And this line underneath is the directrix. So the line goes on one side of the parabola and the focus goes on the inside. And the distance between the focus and the vertex is the same distance to the directrix. So watch as I move this point anywhere on the parabola. What do you notice on the distance? The distance to the focus and the directrix is always the same. Okay, it's an equivalent distance. That's why those are important. So directrix is a line, the focus is a point, and it kind of traps the parabola in between. So we have all these equations, these are your notes, on how to find the directrix and the focus. I'm going to take a screenshot so we can pull it in and look at it. So first thing, we need to identify if it's opening up or down, the form of the equation, or right or left even. So notice that the y minus 3 is what's being squared. So it looks like this one. So that means if I graph it, let's first get x by itself. So we're going to divide everything by 10, every term. And what that does is we're going to have y minus 3 squared divided by 10, but I'm going to rewrite that as 1/10 times y minus 3 squared plus 90 divided by 10 is 9. So if we graph this, it should be opening left. So somewhere over here is the focus, and then the directrix is going to be a line like x equals, I don't know, we got to figure out what it is, but it's some vertical line. So we have this equation that's going to help us find the directrix. Okay, so it's an x equals, so it's going to be this one. So to identify that, we need to know h, and a. So I'm going to write our equation right here above. X equals a y minus k squared plus h. So h is lined up with 9. A is lined up with 1/10. And then we just get to calculate that. And you can use your Desmos graphing calculator just like your scientific. So see how I'm staying in graphing? It works just like that. So x equals 13/2. Let's graph it and see it's that line that lines up on the edge of the parabola. So that would be it. So this one says, on a separate sheet of paper, graph to find the directrix. So you don't have to graph on paper because you have Desmos. So type it in and let's see what it looks like. So this time our graph is opening up. So we need the line that goes underneath, and it's going to be a y equals something. Not that. So from the graph, we can't tell. We're going to use those formulas to figure that out. So let me pull that in. So this time we're in the y equals form. It opens up. The vertex is 3, 4. And we need, let's see, so there's our equation. Here's the standard form of the equation. And we need to know y equals k minus 1 over 4a. So k is 4 and a is 1/8. Oh man, I deleted that from last time. Sometimes when you leave stuff in your calculator, you can just leave it in there and change the numbers. So that comes out to 2. Y equals 2. That was a lucky guess. So y equals 2 is our directrix, but all you're going to type is 2 because the y equals is already up there. So don't type y equals 2, just 2. You're also going to have to find the axis of symmetry. So to do that, that's if you have a parabola. The axis of symmetry goes right through the middle. It's symmetric, it divides it in half. And it always goes right through the vertex. So let's look at this graph. Y equals negative x squared. That's going to make it flip upside down when it starts with a negative. And we want to look at the vertex. Okay, so when it opens up or down, you look at the x value. If it opens right or left, you're going to look at the y value. So for us, the x value is negative 2. So that means if I graph x equals negative 2, see how that line goes right through the middle, it goes right through the vertex? That's called the axis of symmetry. It divides the graph right in half. So again, I would just type negative 2, not the x equals. So this one is similar to what we already did. We're finding the directrix. So I'm going to just, instead of graphing it, I'm just going to jump straight to that formula. From here. These are from your notes. That's where these are coming from, okay? So it helps to see the equation. So it's y equals directrix. So we're going to use k minus 1 over 4a. A is 1/4. K is -5. What equals? And I got those from here. Okay, that's the general form. So -5 minus 1 divided by 4 times 1/4 is -6. So y equals -6, and we could graph it and check our answer like we did last time. That's a good way to check. Okay, find the axis of symmetry and what direction the parabola opens. More than one answer may be correct. Check all that apply. So I'm going to graph this and see what we're even looking at. So 1/5 y plus 8 equals x minus 5 squared. We have a parabola, it's opening up. So that would be one answer. And so the rest of the direction ones I'm going to ignore. Now we just need to know our axis of symmetry. So because it's opening up, it's going to be an x value that we need. So it's not that one, it's not that one. So in Desmos, you can just click on the vertex and look at your two options, 5 and -8. So you have to know that the x-axis or x value goes through the middle, and I would graph it. Okay, graph that line and see that that's the axis of symmetry. It goes right through the middle. So you'd pick those two. And you have a couple like that where it gives you an equation and you have to know the direction and the axis of symmetry. So on these, just graph them so you can get a picture of what you're looking at. So -1/2 y plus 9 equals x minus 1 squared. Okay, now we're opening down. So this one. And now we need to know the axis of symmetry. So again, remember up or down, it's the x value that we want. So it's not these y equals. I bet it's a -9 and 1. Yep, 1 -9. So remember, it's the x value that it goes through.